Hello, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Microbiology Digest. I'm Dr. DP Bora. I welcome you to my today's discussion on a very different topic, a separate domain of microbiology, that is on virology. So, today we'll be discussing the introduction as well as the history of virology, how virology has developed as a science and what were the milestone that leads to development or establishment of virology as a separate science. Okay. Now, first let us understand what is a virus. Virus, it is one type of microorganism which is completely different from other organisms we have discussed so far. It is different from bacteria, it's different from rickettsia, it's different from chlamydia and other microbes. So they are submicroscopic, obligate intracellular parasites. So virus particles, they are generally called as particles because they are totally different from other microorganisms in multiple properties. So they are produced from assembly of some preformed components and other agents like bacteria and Rickettsia chlamydia. They can grow or they can increase in their numbers by cell division. So these particles, virus particles, they themselves they do not grow or undergo any division. They lack the genetic information which is required for growth and multiplication or as well as for metabolic energy. Means the metabolic machinery it is lacking in viruses. They are acellular, very small, and they can only replicate in living systems. Okay, so they contain only one genetic material. It may be either DNA or RNA, but never not the both. Only one type of genetic material is present in viruses. It may be either DNA or maybe RNA. So these viruses, they are obligate intracellular parasites, very small, and the study of these organisms, this branch of microbiology has been termed as virology. Mostly it deals with the study of viruses and the diseases caused by these organisms in man and animals. Now, if we go back to the history of development of virology in comparison to bacteriology and other disciplines of microbiology, it is relatively a new discipline. Merely it is 100 years old, we can say, but the presence of the viruses or the existence of viruses, it was probably known since ancient times because now a lot of ancient drawings or sculptures, it has been observed that these were some of the typical clinical signs which are characteristics of some of the viral diseases has already been depicted long ago in those ancient drawings. So typically the signs of poliomyelitis which has been recovered from ancient drawings, then other diseases like smallpox, the signs or the sufferings due to smallpox has already been recorded in this type of drawings. So again, smallpox, it was a very deadly disease in ancient times in China during 1000 BC. This was a very endemic disease, and the practice of variolation. We have already discussed what is variolation. So variolation practice was started China. Then in 1796, a milestone discovery by one scientist, Edward Jenner, he observed that the milkmaids or persons working with the milking practice, they do not suffer from smallpox. Then he tried to prepare some suspensions, or he collected some cowpox materials and injected and prepared successfully the vaccine. But during that time, he was not able to explain the exact mechanism, or that time it was not termed as vaccine, but this was deliberately inoculated materials prepared from the cowpox lesion, and he could save those persons from smallpox infection. This was his simple observation, and he tried to do something for the smallpox disease. But the virology as a science, it did not get the momentum, or it was not accepted by the scientific community that these diseases, they may be caused by some. It was only after the germ theory, which was proposed by Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch, then the significance of these organisms or scientific community started thinking about this type of organisms. Then in the year 1892, Ivanovsky, he was a Russian botanist. He, for the first time, he reported that tobacco mosaic virus disease, it is a disease in a tobacco plant. He first reported that the causative agent of this disease in tobacco plant, it can pass through the filters which can retain bacteria and other organisms. This was his observation. And this observation can be said as a beginning of the science of virology. Then in the year 1898, Beijering, another scientist, he confirmed the work of Ivanovsky or observation of Ivanovsky. He confirmed it again, and he first gave the idea about a different pathogen or organism, which he during that time he termed those pathogen as contagium vivum fluidum. Means this is a liquid or soluble living poison. So this was the first name given by Beijering to the observation of Ivanovsky. Then in the same year, in the 1898, two scientists, Loeffler and Paul Frost, they showed that the same type of filterable agent is also responsible for one of the very contagious disease in cattle, that is the foot and mouth disease or FMD. So this was the discovery of FMD virus, and FMD virus is the first vertebrate virus to be discovered. Then subsequently, scientific community, they would believe that yes, this may be a different type of pathogen, and in the subsequent years, lot of discoveries were taking place on viruses, and the scientists, they could prove that yes, virus is a separate or different type of pathogen associated with disease condition in man, animals, as well as in plants. Then subsequently, in the year 1881, Carlos Finlay, he proposed that mosquitoes may be may be responsible for yellow fever. The cause of yellow fever, it was a disease in human, and which was later proved by Walter Reed in the year 1900. Then this virus, yellow fever virus, was successfully isolated by another scientist, Max Taylor, and he was successful in development of a vaccine for yellow fever. After these major discoveries for establishment of virology as a science, it includes the discovery of bacteriophage, a different type of virus which can infect bacteria. Two scientists, Frederick Ward and Felix D. Harrell, in the year 1915 and 17, independently they discovered the bacteriophages, which are the viruses capable of infecting bacteria. But still, till that time, because where viruses are not visible by the microscope available. So in the year 1939, Knoll and Raska they developed the electron microscope, and after discovery of electron microscope, the study of viruses or understanding the virus structure, it it was taken up by a different group of scientists, and many discoveries were made on viruses. So 1908, Landsteiner and Popper, they proved that the poliomyelitis is caused by a virus. Then similarly, 1911, another scientist, Peyton Rouse, he demonstrated that viruses may also be associated with cancer. So he discovered the Rouse sarcoma virus. It is a cancer in chickens. Then subsequently, lot of discoveries took place and lot of methods were developed for studying the viruses in the subsequent years. Then in 1949, a major breakthrough by John Enders, Thomas Wellers, and Frederick Robbins. These three scientists, they could successfully demonstrated that viruses can be cultivated in the laboratory. So they first cultivated the poliovirus, and for this great discovery, they were awarded with Nobel Prize. Then 1957, interferons were discovered by Isaacs and Lindenman. Then 1970, Tamin and Baltimore, they discovered the retroviruses. Then 76, oncogenes in viruses were discovered by Bishop and Varmas. Then 1983, Montaigne and Gallo, they discovered the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV virus. Then the virology as a science, it is still growing, and in the recent years, the genetic engineering and sequencing revolutionized the virus research. And this research, virology research, in the present scenario, it is focused on the emerging viruses and the preparedness about the pandemic which can occur due to the emergence of new virus or virus strains. So, to summarize basics about the viruses, so as we have already discussed, viruses are submicroscopic acellular parasites, and they can exist both as living as well as non-living states. They are extremely small, 20 to 400 nanometer in diameter, and it requires an electron microscope to study or to visualize them. Viruses, they lack the metabolic machinery, exclusively relying on the host cells for growth, replication, and multiplication. Structurally, they consist of a genetic material. It may be either DNA or RNA, which is enclosed by or surrounded by a protein coat, and this protein coat is called as capsid. Outside the host, they are inactive and can be crystallized. And viruses, they occupy a twilight zone that separates the living from non-living. Or viruses can be said as the middle stage of living and non-living. Now, these are some selected discoveries, important discoveries of on the viruses, and starting from 1892, the year when Ivanovsky showed that TMV, or the tobacco mosaic virus, first he reported about this virus. Then the subsequent discoveries, which were important milestones in establishing the virology as a science. So a lot of discoveries took place, and majority of these discoveries or the inventors were awarded with Nobel Prize for their discovery. So please go through these discoveries, because to understand a particular subject, always we should give importance to the history, how the science, how the subject in started, and what are the major milestones or major works that lead to the development of this subject as a separate science. So please go through these discoveries, and these are the informations I wanted to discuss with you all today. So hope this information will be helpful. If you find these are helpful, please subscribe to my channel and give your comments. So with this, thank you very much.